Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Propulsion Swimming live stream. How you doing, Dan? Welcome to another night of, another night of Great British Swimming, wasn't it?
It was the last night, of course, and I'll tell you what, it lived up to expectations. I mean, those two relays at the end, and I'm sure everyone will agree with me, they were outstanding from a British point of view, of course. And I'm looking forward to it at Tokyo. I just don't know where we stand now. I think we know where we are with the men's side, but with the women's side, I didn't think we had a chance of a medal, but you just don't know now. Don't know. But
we'll get into the relays.
Racing. Yeah.
We'll get into the relays. We will. So if anyone hasn't watched any of our streams so far for this week, we are doing a review of the racing that's happened today. And then we will kind of end tonight's live stream with kind of putting a few questions to everyone who's watching, kind of your swimmers of the meet, maybe your race of the meet, maybe some wild predictions come Tokyo after watching some racing.
Yeah, well, we haven't discussed it. We basically asked three questions to each other, didn't we? We said our number one British swimmer of the week, and then our international swimmer of the week, and then our race of the meet as well. So anyone think of those while we're going through the racing of today. I've written down mine. I haven't conferred it with Scott, but
no, not at all. I've got mine.
One for debating, isn't it? So, but yes, let's go through the racing first anyway.
Definitely. Okay, so the first race of the night was the women's 50-meter butterfly. As expected, I called this correctly yesterday. Come on, you knew that was coming. Yo-yo. That was a very weird 50 race, actually, because Henique, is it? She looked like she had it in the bag until she breathed. And she breathed at the same time as Yo-yo, but she just seemed to stop. Yo-yo then powered on forward through it. It was a very back and forward 50. A lot of changes happened.
Yeah, I don't understand why they both took a breath. That baffles me completely, to be honest with you. You look at the men and they don't breathe, and yet the women, although yes, they have to swim for 2 seconds longer, give or take, something like that. So they have to hold their breath for 2 seconds longer. But it affected Henique terribly because it was almost like putting on the brakes. It really was.
A little bit.
And that was the decider, effectively. Yo-yo has the best start, and then she's able to maintain the speed off that start. But then it didn't work for Henique today. But well done, that's 1-0 to you.
I was going to say, off the start, Yo-yo was winning off the start, and then Henique just seemed to swim past her, and then she breathed with 15 to go, and you're just like, oh, what happened?
Yeah, literally.
And they both had big glides into the finish as well.
Yes, yeah. I don't have a reason for it. It's just they shouldn't be breathing. That's the thing I can take away from it. And the breath has cost her gold, in my point of view. So anyway, yeah.
I mean, not much more to say. It was a very even race, kind of.
Well, I mean, they were all split by 0.5. You kind of expect that over a 50. So it's all about getting every little detail right. And especially from Henique's point of view, you're going to be behind on the start because Yo-yo is so good at it. So why would you take a breath when you're on you're the fastest in the water? Baffles me, but obviously she needed to breathe. So, yeah.
What a shame. The men's 50 meters freestyle. I'm so glad to see Ben Proud on the podium here. I really am.
Yeah, well, that's so funny because I was telling you beforehand, wasn't it? Like literally 2 minutes, they were all getting onto the block and said 21.61 is going to win this race, didn't I?
Yeah.
People won't believe me when I say it, but the winning time.
There's a message. There's literally a message in our chat.
Yeah, and I was saying yesterday that 21.6 would be good enough to win it because I just don't think 21.5, 21.4 that these guys shouldn't be there yet. If they are there yet, then they've almost like tapered for this race. So at least they're doing the right sort of thing and they're at the right sort of pace. But that's a good silver from Ben. I mean, it was a blanket finish.
Yeah, there's not too much to take away from position, really, is it? It's just the times everyone's about that time, so everyone's on track.
Pretty much, yeah. Ben's start was so much better, and that's what's it cost him 0.2, like I was saying yesterday, and he's basically fixed the start and he's gone 0.2 quicker. So that's pretty much it. And then you want to talk about another person's start.
I do. I want to talk about the winner's start because I don't think I've seen a start that bad in professional swimming ever. Well, I understand why he's doing it. It's not bad. It is bad practice, but it works for him. So if you watch the race back again, the Finn in lane 3, I believe,
it's the one lower than Ben,
he is almost up by the flags. He came up. He didn't do any dolphin leg kick. He came up onto the surface as quickly as possible. Now, he won gold, so it clearly works for him.
Yep.
But everyone who's done swimming knows the streamline position and dolphin leg kick is the fastest way to swim. This guy did none of it. Absolutely none of it. And you're watching it back and just like, well, if you actually decided to pay attention to that, your time could be nuts.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason that he might not do it is because he's 6'10", so he's a giant, and I just don't know if his body would work in that sort of undulation movement.
You say that Grievous is 6'10", and his underwater's outstanding. I don't think height's an excuse. I think he very much is very comfortable with his swim speed being, I would say, the fastest in the pool now.
Well,
going by that, if he's won and he's not done any underwater work, he is the fastest man in that pool.
Yeah,
but
he's obviously got.
He's not beating Dressel with underwaters like that. You have no chance in hell.
No, I mean, he's obviously got very long levers being 6'10", and he can pull a lot of water. And like you say, swim speed, he's arguably probably the fastest in the pool. I mean, that's a bit of a statement when you've got Manadoo in there and you've got Proud in there and, massive names like that. But like it just works for him. I mean, if I were the coach, I'd probably add in at least 2 or 3 kicks to try and maintain momentum or something. But
if we have any coaches who are listening or watching this live stream, you go back and watch that tape and show it to your swimmers and show them that is not how to do it, because it was honestly, I watched it and it stuck out like a sore thumb, and straight away I went, oh, he's lost. Turns out he won, but it was so bad.
You told me about it because I was constantly staring at Ben because I wanted his start to be better than what it was in a semi. So I didn't even notice him, believe it or not. And the camera shot, you can like instantly see him like, oh, how did I miss it the first time? Straight up.
In out.
Yeah. But I was just watching Ben start, and his start was so much better. But interesting. Talking about starts, I don't want to go into the whole negative side, but it was the heats this morning, and it was the women's 4x1 medley. And the Swedish swimmer, I'm sure, like I'm almost positive, that she went past 15 meters. Definitely.
And didn't get punished.
for it. And I just think there's a lot of things go, by the wayside. Yeah, a little bit. Benefit of the doubt seems to be going quite a lot at the moment. And PT's talked about the fly kick on breaststroke. And I just wonder if some of these, a bit like footballers, they kind of play the ref, don't they? I wonder if some of these swimmers are now playing the officials a little bit. I don't know. But,
possibly. I tell you what, I was watching it back yesterday with my girlfriend who isn't massively into swimming. Unfortunately for her, she's with me, so she watches it on TV. And we were watching all of the officials come out, and she's like, "Blimey, that's a lot of people for just a swimming race."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Yeah, half of those don't do anything. They stand at the end of the lane to make sure something's touched the wall." And then they supposedly check that people have gone to 15. It might be good to see a few more DQs.
Well, there's been a lot of DQs actually in these relays. I don't know what they've been DQ'd for. I'm assuming flyers. Because the technical side is actually helping them, and they can just look on the screen, they see the numbers. Oh, it's minus point, whatever it is. Oh, it's a DQ. Bosh, and it's done. But the 15-meter rule, I'm sure there's a few heads going past 15 now. And I suppose officials obviously do need to be there because they're almost that's what makes a sport. Otherwise, if we didn't have judges and volunteers, then the sport wouldn't happen. And of course, in the grassroots, like the clubs,
you see a lot of rules upheld very stringently.
Yeah, but they need to be there because, of course, the younger kids are learning and all that sort of stuff. But these guys obviously should know it, like almost like it's a second language to them, basically. And it feels like they're just sort of breaking the law a little bit on some of these things now. And I just wonder if a DQ or 2 needs to be in place to stop them from, making it worse and worse. But going back to Ben Proud, it's a fantastic swim, good silver medal.
Back on track. He's on track for Tokyo. I'm excited to see what happens. He's very much one of my top lists to actually pay attention to for GB.
Yeah, I just imagine that the final at Tokyo is going to be exactly the same as that. It's just going to be who gets their hand on the wall first, make sure you do all the details right, make sure the start's good. None of them took a breath, so that's not an issue, and it's just trying to hold as much water as possible. So, just all the fine details, which is all about 50-meter swimming.
Should we move on to the women's 50-meter breaststroke? Because Benedetta Pilato is very, very good. No world record, but she still swam the second fastest time of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no words for it, quite frankly. It's just I say PT-like, but PT doesn't even do that in a 50 breaststroke.
Not anymore, no.
It doesn't pull away as much as she does against the rest of the world. Rest of Europe as of right now, but I'm trying to think who would give her a bit of a run for her money.
Well, we'll see what Lily King could do.
Yeah, it's difficult. I just don't see Lily King going that quickly at the moment.
Well, she doesn't need to focus on a 50 right now. Maybe next world champ. Actually, world champs. I've got to think when they are. Are they next year? Yeah, they are.
It's supposed to be this year, isn't it? But
yeah, but
it'll be next year now. Yes, yeah. But it's a fantastic swim.
Yeah.
And what annoys me most is that Sarah Vasey came fourth, but then you have the cheat that came third, and you think, oh, this just...
She shouldn't be in the sport, so Sarah Vasey should technically have a bronze.
She should do, yes, yeah. And we had that same problem when I was swimming at Cardiff, and Chloe got fourth in the 200 breaststroke at Rio, and
over beat her.
She beat her, and then she should have got a bronze at Tokyo, at Rio. But
she shouldn't be anywhere near the sport, and I think Andy Jameson and the commentating crew just shouldn't acknowledge her. They keep calling her a legend of the sport, and in fact, she's a drugs cheat. Just ignore her. She has no place in any conversation in swimming.
Well, we've made it very clear on our tweets that if she places, we don't even mention a name, and we just pretend that she doesn't exist, because she shouldn't be there. I mean, we've done it with Sun Yang as well, because even though he hasn't actually failed a drugs test, but if you don't turn up to have a drugs test, then it's just you get treated the same way. It's the same sort of thing. But you just got to ignore those swimmers. That's what we're doing anyway. We don't promote that.
Brilliant performance from Sarah Vasey.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's a PB, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So you can't ask for too much more. Nothing more to take away from that, actually.
So, men's 100 meters butterfly. Jimmy Guy put up one hell of a fight.
He did.
At the 75 meter mark, I honestly thought he might have Milak. And Milak, it's the same thing. We've been saying it all week. The British swimmers just don't have that last 15. And I think that just let him down the tiniest bit. But his turns, Dan, you brought it up to me. Where on earth have they come from?
I have no idea, but they are now suddenly... I mean, are they on par with Dressel's turns now? Because at the moment, he's taking chunks out of these swimmers right now. I mean, he turned, I can't remember where he turned, maybe third or fourth or something like that.
Came up ahead of Milak.
Popped up first or second. I mean, he took out half a bod length easily out of those swimmers. And these swimmers aren't slow. I mean, that Bulgarian, almost like wonder kid, if you like, because I think he's 17, 18. He might be the next best thing. Milak, obviously, is the best butterfly in the world.
I almost got that, Dan. I almost got it. I almost said Milak under 50, and he was 0.2 off it. 0.2. Oh,
yeah. It's quite a lot. It is quite a lot.
I was going to be buzzing.
If you did, I'd have like, oh no, he's going to really annoy me on this live shoot. He's just going to keep banging on about it. But he didn't do it. And actually, I said to you, didn't I? 50.2 was what he would go.
50.2.
My predictions were going really well. Normally, I get them really, really wrong. But it was a fantastic swim in the end. Even though Jimmy put up a really good fight, I mean, Milak won by 0.7 in the end. I mean,
there's not much more Jimmy could have done. If I'm perfectly honest, he swam the perfect race to put pressure onto Milak, see if he cracked, but he just swam away. I don't think he could have done much more.
No, I said to you yesterday that if he did the same sort of race, which he did, it was an identical race. It was literally almost the same time. It's just that the Bulgarian just pips him at the end.
I mean, literal finish. Yeah,
that was it. I mean, Jimmy did exactly the same as what he did before, and then just the Bulgarian was just better on the night. It's just one of those things, I suppose. But it's very good bronze either way, and it bodes very well for the 4x1 medley. I think if he's got turns like that, he might just keep up with Dressel on those turns.
I'll tell you what, we're getting into it. We'll get into what split he swam later on this evening, because ISL was slightly concerning. You're watching him and suddenly he's anonymous, which isn't the Jimmy Guy that we know. And then since trials, he has been absolutely outstanding.
He has been very, very good. And it just bodes well. It does, like I said, it's just going to bode well for Tokyo. And I'm really excited about what he does.
Definitely.
I was kind of surprised at the start of the meet because he pulled out the individual 200 free. And I thought, oh, why is he doing that? But clearly the 100 fly is the target, because he's swimming so well at it at the moment. And I can't wait to see what he does. I'm assuming he races at Glasgow in 2-3 weeks' time. See what he does then. If you can go 50.6, something like
that. I tell you what, I wonder if Jimmy Guy's raced his last ever 200 fly, because he's not racing it at Glasgow. I think he's pretty much confirmed he's not racing it at Tokyo. Possibly. I wonder if he just got that 155 and then said, you know what, that's it. I've proved that I can get to an Olympic standard on 200 fly, but there's no chance I want to race it.
I mean, possibly we'd have to speak to him. We haven't spoken to him yet, of course. So that'll be a question we can ask to him. But 100 fly is the way to go at the moment, because he's on fire at it.
He is.
Good bronze medal.
Women's 200 meters backstroke, another medal. This one was slightly unexpected, but the way Cassie Wilde swims a 200 back, you're always in with a chance.
Oh, I wonder if she was listening to the live stream yesterday, because I was sort of speaking to her through this live stream in a way to just get out there and attack. Yeah, she wasn't watching. I'm joking, but
no
but just attack the race, and she did. She took it out from the beginning, turned in a 1:02, and I saw the split and thought, oh no. I mean, she split. I think
she went out hard.
She went out 1 minute for an individual, I think, at one point during the meet, and I thought, oh gosh, she's gonna pay for it at the end, which she maybe did a little bit towards the end. I mean, if you look at the
33,
I mean, if you look at the splits, it was she was hanging on. Her technique held her own, because she's got a fantastically smooth technique. It almost looks like she's putting no effort in at all.
I wanna touch on that. The reason she won that silver rather than bronze was her technique. If you watch. If people watch it back, the Hungarian backstroker, her technique was absolutely appalling. Her head was bouncing, she was rocking and rolling, her feet were going all over the place, and you're just like, if you sort your technique out, you clearly have the aerobic base, the strength. You sort that out, you'll swim so much more efficiently, and you might be up there with the gold medal winner. I couldn't. It was really hard to watch her. If I'm honest,
she doesn't.
I struggled.
She doesn't just do it for the last 50 meters. She does it for the whole race. I don't know if you've ever even noticed it. I just wonder how she swims it like that. If she does that every day in training, twice a day, her neck muscles from lifting up must be absolutely massive, like hench out here. It can't be right. It can't be good for her. She must do some sort of physio with her neck and shoulders, because she must be stiff. I have no idea. It works for her, I suppose, but.
I think the massive point to take away from it is Cassie Wild also got her qualification time for Tokyo in the 2 back. So she's now going to be racing the 100 and 200 meters backstroke, which is huge.
It's seriously impressive. And I tell you what, she'll probably be in the heats for the 4x1 medley as well. And then if Kathleen Dawson then does the final, so that's a fantastic backup, if I want to say. Backup's like a harsh word for it, because she's done fantastic all week, actually. And of course, you've got Katie Shanahan as well.
Yep, I was going to say she deserves a mention, because the first time under 210, PB'd through every round. She's only 16. She looks like a massive future ahead of her.
Oh, seriously impressive. And I think she was up there in one of the top lanes, lanes 1 or 2. And you're concentrating on the middle lanes, or Cassie, because she was nearest the camera. So you're kind of watching her, and you didn't really see Casey, unfortunately, on camera. But when she touched the wall on 2:09.9, that's a fantastic time for a 16-year-old.
Brilliant time.
And they say, Jameson says that she's more of a medley swimmer. I don't know now. I think looking at that, that's a backstroke time. That's a very, very good time indeed. And her future, I'd love to see what she goes at Glasgow. I really would, if she does it. I'm assuming she will. But,
I was going to say there might be the outside chance that she gets the consideration time alongside Cassie. There really might be.
Quite possibly, yeah. I mean, I look at the time, and Cassie's time PB was 2:09 mid. I think I can't really remember what it was at the start of the meet. It's 2:09.3 or something along those lines. And she's basically gone a second and a half quicker. I mean, that's monstrous.
That's good. It's really good.
It's really, really good. I mean, backstroke in Britain. I mean, backstroke in the world of swimming right now is incredible. And
it's exciting.
Thank God we're representing as well, because geez, it's on another level at the moment.
Men's 400 meters individual medley. Max Litchfield, yes, he won a bronze. I would have liked a gold, but he looks really good. He looks in a very good place.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you, actually. I wasn't expecting the outside burner of, what was his name, Borodin. I think he broke a world junior record in that swim as well. So I wasn't expecting anything from that. He obviously took it very steady in the semi-final and caught everyone off guard. Caught me off guard anyway.
His breaststroke leg was phenomenal.
Yeah, very good.
His freestyle leg, there's clearly a chance to beat him whenever you race him again, because that freestyle leg at the end is not good. It's not brilliant. It's
not the strongest leg of his, no, but he put himself in the right position to hold on to that gold medal position, basically. Going back to Max was pretty solid. I mean, his fly is not. I'd probably say his fly is his weakest part. So it's all about just getting rid of the fly quickly, and then he's able to work the backstroke and the rest of it, and then come back strong on the freestyle. Still got a bit of work to do in terms of getting close to his PB, but I think he's getting better. What did he do at trials?
2:12. 4:12.
Yeah. So he's going in the right direction.
4:11. I mean, to be dropping times after trials now is very encouraging.
Yeah, really, very good.
Encouraging.
Andy Jameson was saying that he's actually suffered from a shoulder injury as well, which I wasn't aware of. So if he's had that and he's having to train through trials and this and trying to get his training right and rehab, etc., then he's doing really well for himself.
Really well.
Really well.
Women's 400 meters freestyle. This was kind of a big chance for Holly Hibbert to maybe get her Olympic consideration time, but lane 1, it was. I don't think she really stood a chance all the way out there.
It's such a hard consideration time to get. I'd love to know who actually has got that time in the world right now, because
there was only one out of this.
Yeah, Quadrella was the only one that actually went underneath the time. So if Holly were to hit that time, she would have got silver, which would have been absolutely incredible. I mean, I'm sure Katie Ledecky, she's gone 4 minutes the other day.
Yeah, of course she has.
But other than that,
yeah,
I don't know. It can only be a handful of people at the moment in this point in the season that have gone under that Olympic consideration time. So if you're going to hit that time, I mean, you're on track for a medal at Tokyo. But it was a really tough race. I mean, outside lane, I think she is a real racer. She did attack it from the start, but I think the pace
and it actually was a fairly slow race as well. So even though she attacked it from the start, there wasn't a fast pace to really drag her along to a really fast time. She was having to push the pace, and it really cost her.
Yeah, and that's the problem, isn't it? If you have a pacemaker next to you, you can almost it's almost like you don't really do the work, you just follow them, if that makes sense. It's almost like you save energy weirdly, even though they're in a different lane.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to explain, but you kind of weirdly save energy. It's so strange. But she was in lane 1, and the swimmer in lane 2 was
just nowhere.
Nowhere. So you're like, she was swimming by herself again. It's almost like the same as trials, which was a real shame. But you told me Quadrella, and I completely agree with you. How many gears does she have?
Yeah,
I mean,
I was watching it, and she kicked on at 200 to go.
Yeah,
I believe it was 200 to go, and you're watching this and just like, oh, she's gone early, and she's not shaking the Russian here.
Yeah,
and she's going to lose. And then 75 to go, she goes again, and you're just like, what on earth?
Yeah,
where on earth has that come from? She's
really weird.
She's a distance freestyler. She's 15. She's 800, and then she's got an extra gear at the end of a 400 like that is mind-boggling.
Do you know what I found?
Stunned.
Is that when that last, especially the last 50 meters, when she was in top gear, 5th gear, her technique changed, and actually it looked better. Weirdly,
yeah. I tell you what, look at this. She finished on a 29.3.
It's quick, really quick. That just shows you how, especially for her, that the pace at the beginning was really comfortable for her. And then she had loads left in the tank, and then just left the field in the last 100. But her technique got better as the race went on. I've kind of compared her to Paucineri. They look like they've got the same stroke when they're doing the 8 and 15. It's very
she looks a lot better, right? She looks a lot better at 4 than she does at 8 or 15, though.
Very strange, but it'll be interesting to see what she does in a 400 at Tokyo when you're racing the likes of Ledecky. Because Ledecky sets the pace, and if you can hold on to Ledecky, then blimey, you're doing very, very well.
You are.
But Ledecky's got gears like that as well, so that might be an interesting race.
I actually thought that was phenomenal. That was for me. Was that a better swim than Milak's 100 fly? I was really impressed by it. Really, really impressed.
Yeah, I mean, from a racing point of view, I suppose that was probably better because the tactics were incredible from Quadrella, and you could just see her. You saw her go from gear 1 to gear 3 to gear 5. Like you could see it. Whereas I suppose Milak was much the same. He goes up relatively steady, and then you can see him just go poof straight up, and then he's flying at the end. But that was a really impressive swim. Really, really quite impressive.
Men's medley relay, GB. Are we favourites for gold in Tokyo? I think that was a perfect test run because Kaleshnikov was a mile ahead of Greenbank, and we still won comfortably.
I'll tell you what, I thought Kaleshnikov was going to break a world record at one point. I thought, oh my God, he's going to do it. He's going to do it here. And then I don't know, the last 2, 3, maybe even 4 strokes, just sort of
hide up a little bit.
The world record line just sort of to go away from him a little bit. Great swim from him still. 52-1 he went in the end, which is very, very good.
Interesting that 100 back, I think the world record, Murphy set it on a relay. It's interesting that they get closer on a relay than they do in the individual.
I think there's more on the line. So it's not just about yourself, that you're not winning a gold just for yourself. You're winning the gold for the next 3 swimmers. And of course, you're leading off as well. So you don't want to do a really bad start and then it just hinders everyone else. I think you're right. I think it was a really good test because the Italians were pretty strong as well. I thought it'd be a straight head-to-head between us and Russia. But I think if you look at the splits, Greenbank went a 53.6, and that's pretty much on his PB, give or take, So he was on his.
Well, he went lower on the individual.
I think 53.4 was it 53.3 something
Something,
along
yeah.
so he's not too far away is what I'm trying to say.
So, yeah, PT's
then
got, I think he's got another half second in the locker.
Yep.
Jimmy Guy was bang on his limit of 50.6. Maybe there's a tiny bit more.
Maybe 0.1 or 2, yep.
And then Duncan Scott, a 46.9. I mean, that's bang on his limit, and that's very impressive.
Yeah. Are we favourites? We'll go back to your first question. Are we favourites when you include the Americans? Because I think we beat the Australians. It's just the Americans in my head. It's so difficult. It basically, we're just repeating ourselves. It's all on the backstroke. I don't want to put pressure on Luke, but it is. It's all on the backstroke because PC is going to do a job. Jimmy and Duncan are just relay masters. It's a really difficult one, but that bodes well. Yeah. I think it bodes well either way.
It does. That was almost a perfect dry run for them.
Yeah,
let's leave it at that. That really was.
It really was.
Women's medley relay. I think this was one of the best British swims of the week because every single swimmer in that pool swam perfectly and the times are bonkers.
Well, should we just start with the first one with Kathleen Dawson?
Go for it.
I had a feeling the British record was going to go. 58.1 was the British record before. She's just gone 58.08. So it's a British record and a new European record as well.
Record.
And like
took down a super suit time.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely incredible swim. And like you say, they just go faster in the relays. There's more on the line. They just pull it out of the bag. I'm trying to think what Toussaint went. I mean, Toussaint went 59.7. I mean, I think she's knackered now.
She's cooked, yeah.
But Kathleen Dawson is just going leaps and bounds. She's just bouncing at the moment. Fantastic start. And then Molly Renshaw. I didn't know she could go a 65.7 on a 100. That's incredible as well. And you just carry on going down the names. Laura Stevens, 57.5. Even though you look at the time, you think that's a really good time, but actually you watch and you think, come on, Laura, go a little bit faster. They're all catching up. And you think, wow, 57.5, that's really impressive. And then Anna Hopkin, I tell you what, she has to be in a conversation of one of the best British swimmers this week because she has done fantastic. She's a 50 swimmer. And so she takes it out strong, and I usually expect her to sort of die off the last 20 meters or so, but she doesn't. She's actually at the moment pushing further on. Really impressive swim. You talk for a bit because it was really impressive.
I tell you what, we are after this race, we're going to go through swimmers of the meet, and Anna Hopkin is right up there for me. She is small, but my God, is she mighty. She is really, if you're taking Freya Anderson off of a relay, you're doing good. You're doing really, really good. Is she an outside chance for the 100 free come Tokyo? I don't know. And maybe not to win, but make a final, then who knows? She's looking really, really impressive. And Mel Marshall, again, is doing a fantastic job with another medal contending swimmer.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to basically echo exactly what you just said. Anna is, I think they call her the pocket rocket because she's so powerful.
She's tiny for a sprinter.
Yes, yeah. And you expect it. You look at Sarah Sostrom, I think she's 6 foot. Simone Manuel is 6'1". Freya is 6'2". I think Comarioyo is maybe 5'11", something like that. Yeah, she's quite tall. But then you get Anna Hopkin, I don't know this for sure, but something like 5'7", something along those lines. She's the same height as Abby Wood, and Abby Wood's not tall either. So absolutely outstanding from all the girls there.
Brilliant.
I mean, that's absolutely. I've got no words for it. It's just impressive. So impressive.
And I would now say that team is for sure going to Tokyo, the medley relay. I'm not going to say they're going to win a medal, but I think that's another Olympic name on the plane because Laura Stevens wasn't qualified for an individual. I think she now goes.
Well, Harriet Jones goes for the 100 fly already. So
it's more likely. Well, maybe they take Laura Stevens. Who knows?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't think Harriet was at the races this week. It's clearly in hard training. I think she did 59s for each of the hundreds that she did. So they put in Laura Stevens, who she must have been sort of bouncing around the hotel. She looks fresh enough, and so they decided to put her in. And it was obviously the right choice anyway. But Harriet's going.
She's not. I don't know. Yeah, so Laura's not on the team yet, but she's got a chance at Glasgow to hit. I think she's more likely to hit the 2 fly time. And then maybe she goes on the relay as well. We'll see. I think that's one kind of a last minute decision to pay attention to.
Oh, well, if she makes the Olympic consideration time in the 200 fly at Glasgow, let's say, then I suspect that she'll be put on the heat swim. for this relay, and then Harriet does the final. That's probably what I would suggest.
Yeah.
But it all depends if she gets that 200 time, because then do you take Laura for just that relay alone, just do a heat swim?
Who knows?
I don't know. But either way, it has a fantastic swim, and hopefully, I mean, she does that time in the individual.
That's a fast time.
That's a consideration time.
Yeah.
So
it is.
She's got the ability. She's definitely got it. It's just doing it on the night, basically. And Glasgow's the next chance for her.
And that's your lot. That's your racing at European Champs done. So British Swimming ended with 11 golds, 26 medals, and 7 relay golds, which is the big takeaway from me. All nine relays medaled and 7 golds. That's phenomenal.
I didn't think we'd medal in every single one. I think, yes, we were favourites in a lot of them. Not as much as, what was it, 7 golds, you say? I didn't think we were going to win 7 golds out of 9. I mean, that's a really good result. That just shows how good the squad depth is at the moment in GB.
Yeah,
it's just so good. I didn't expect it. I thought, we said at the very start of the week that these guys will be tired because of the hard training. They've just done their trials. They've just done their really good swims. These guys are now going to be absolutely knackered. Some are. I mean, just to name a few, Jacob Peters looked quite tired.
I was going to say, we broke it down, and it is the whole Joel Fink squad at Bath that look cooked. They look like they're in very hard training.
Bird, Brodie Williams, Jacob Peters, Harry
Matt
Jones
Richards.
looked quite tired. Matt Richards, there's quite a few quite a few were tired, and that's what we expected that most swimmers would be like.
I went into this meet with pretty low expectations, if I'm absolutely honest. I just expected times to be as slow as you'd expect, because they are training through, and they've been openly saying they're training through, and they don't like that they're in another bubble. But my God, when they're in the pool, they don't have fight.
Geez. I mean, it's so good. I mean, it's a huge testament to their mental capacity, I suppose, because, these guys, they've probably been told that this is a nothing sort of competition. This is just a
pressure's
sort of,
off.
Yeah, just an experience, just go and race and have a bit of fun. And it's obviously bode well. Great preparation for Tokyo. I'm really interested to see what they do at Glasgow. I'm kind of expecting the similar sort of times to this. Not outstanding, but very, very good. But Kathleen Dawson's 100 backstroke, that is seriously impressive. Seriously impressive.
So now it's a really good point for anyone who's watching the live stream to ask us any questions to answer before we sign off for what has been a very busy week. Me and Dan are going to debate between ourselves the British swimmer of the meet, the international swimmer of the meet, and maybe race of the meet. And if you have your own opinions, put them in the chat. It's a really good time. We'll bring them up on the screen and we can let everyone know your opinions.
Yes.
So shall we start with international swimmer of the meet, Dan?
International swimmers. So I've written down a potential 5 swimmers to get this.
Okay, I've got 4.
I'll start with the 5th swimmer because she's the least likely to win it in my head, and that is Sophie Hansen. She had a very good 100 breaststroke, the Swede.
Okay.
I don't think she's going to win. I just thought I'd mention it. She's probably 5th in my opinion.
Okay, she's not on my list.
I'll go with my 4th, and then you go with your potential 4th or something. Yep. We'll go like that then, shall we? 4th. Oh, man. They're all pretty good. Let's go with Heemskerk. Heemskerk was pretty impressive. I mean, the 51 points in the relays, winner in the 100 free. And of course, I can't remember how old she is now. She's in her 30s.
It's her first European gold.
Yeah, it is. And she's beaten all these youngsters. Cromwell Yo-Yo is one of them. And that was my next name, actually, Cromwell Yo-Yo. So both those Dutch names.
Okay, so that's your 3 and 4. 3 and 4 Cromwell Yo-Yo.
Yes.
So my 3 and 4 were Cromwell Yo-Yo and Romanchuk. Bit of a left field one, but I was really impressed with the way he swam the distance events. And I think he's definitely overcome a big mental hurdle in beating Paltrineri twice and quite comfortably.
Yeah, he's definitely figured out the right tactics, hasn't he? Yeah. That was the name I was going to write down, actually.
I mean, that's coming from me. I'm a sprinter. I've put that on my list. What on earth?
Well, you actually said, didn't you, at the start of the week or whenever the race was, that was the most exciting 1500 that you've ever watched. And I thought, well, actually, it pretty was. Yeah, it was. What's another name that you've got then? So that's a pretty good shout.
So then my second swimmer was Milak.
Oh, he's second.
Very impressive over the week.
Yes.
Really, really impressive. I think his world records are going to tumble. The 200 fly's gone. Whether he can pose a threat to Dressel in the 100, I think there is an outside chance now. I really do.
Well, it's interesting. 100 fly. They've got 2 different tactics. Dressel kind of goes out hard, and then Milak comes back hard. I've kind of in my head Milak does the Phelps method where he comes back strong, and then Dressel just does the Dressel method and he just goes out hard. So it's very interesting. 2 different tactics, and of course, if you go back to Phelps takes out hard and Phelps come back. So yes, different tactics. It's going to be really interesting. Milak has to be in the conversation for best international swimmer, and then of course, I think you'll probably agree with me on this. Kolesnikov.
Yeah, my number one.
He has to be number one, doesn't he? He has to be number one. So it's not just the backstroke; it's the 100 free as well.
Yeah. Yes, he completely bombed the individual 100 back, but I put nothing on him for that one. The 100 free, he is a real threat for gold in that, and the 100 back, I think, is close to being a very heavy favorite for as well.
I would probably agree with you. Yes, I think he's got a fantastic chance of winning the 100 free as well. I mean, he went 47.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
So the 100 back and the 100 free, that's a very impressive double if he does that. He has to be. That's my choice as well. But I'm seeing in the comments that Pilato should also be in the conversation.
Yeah, see, she's not in my conversation because she didn't do anything in the 100 breaststroke. I think she finished like 5th fastest or something like that in the heats. But if you don't make it to the semi-final and finals of the hundreds, I think the 50, she was super impressive in the 50 breaststroke. But I think I expected more from her in the 100.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because if she were to, let's say, medal in the 100 breaststroke, then yes, she has to be in the conversation.
She's swimmer with me.
Yeah. But it's difficult because she broke the world record. Not only broke the world record, she smashed it. But
you've got to remember, Kolesnikov broke the 50 back world record as well.
He did. He did. So that's the reason why Kolesnikov is number one. And Pilato doesn't make the conversation because it's difficult because
it's harsh.
It is harsh, weirdly. But there's no 50 breaststroke in the Olympics. But you could say the same for Kolesnikov with 50 back, couldn't you? So it's a difficult one. I mean, maybe Pilato comes 5th or 6th on my list or something like that.
Maybe.
But yeah.
Okay, British swimmer of the meet. Now I have 5 written down here.
I've written down. Go on.
I've tell you what. I'm just going to go through the whole list because right now I have my one. So I'm just going to go through the whole list and we'll pick the one.
You have your one.
I have my one quite comfortably.
Well, okay.
Okay, so the 5 are Freya Anderson, Anna Hopkin, Cassie Wilde, Kathleen Dawson, and Adam Peaty. You can't forget about Adam Peaty.
So I'll tell you my 5 then. So Anna Hopkin, they're much the same actually. Anna Hopkin, Cassie Wilde, Kathleen Dawson, Luke Greenbank, and Jimmy Guy. So they were my 5. I've only not put PT in there. It's terrible. That I just expect it from PT. It's terrible. I really shouldn't be like that. But I just expect him to go 57s now. I mean, 57s are like top 10s in the world ever. Actually,
I know.
It's just insane, and you just kind of disregard it. I shouldn't do it, but I just expect it from him. Luke really impressed me. A massive British record in 200 backstroke. I suppose you kind of expect it from Jimmy as well, maybe. So maybe I'm being a little bit hypocritical because he just does it in the relays every single time. 50.9 is very impressive. Was it faster than what he did at trials? Can't remember what he did at trials now. But his British record is 50.6. I think that's right on the cards come Glasgow, definitely at Tokyo. Let's go to your list then. So Anna Hopkin, we've talked about Anna Hopkin quite a bit already. Cassie Wilde,
because she
incredible.
So 50 back, 100 back, 200 back. She went through every round, made every final. She improved on every round. She PB'd in every final. That is amazing.
Oh, Jimmy went 51 before. I didn't think he went 50.9. No. Yeah, I mean, you can't ask for any more than what Cassie's done. PBs.
That is almost the perfect. That's the perfect week. That's absolutely the perfect week.
Well, do you want to literally go through what she's done? So she's qualified for the Olympics in the 200 backstroke, which she hadn't done already before, with a massive PB, mind you. Got fastest through the rounds and made semis and finals in every race that she entered. That's a pretty successful week. If you for a first senior, I assume it's her first senior international meet.
Not sure.
Mean, that's some serious. I mean, does she get number one or does Kathleen Dawson get number one?
Yeah, mine's Kathleen Dawson.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite obvious, really, isn't it? Just because that's that 100
The
backstroke.
100 is so good. So good.
I mean,
I
she had,
really
not
do.
only did she win it once, she had to win it twice as well.
And then she broke the European
then-
record the next day.
Yeah.
She's top of my list.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you because that's an absolutely outstanding race, outstanding week for her. It's just they're basically all backstrokes. So you've got Cassie, Kathleen, and Luke, all backstrokers for me on my list here. That's 3 out of the 5 backstrokers, and then Anna and Jimmy as well. I mean, the list could go on. You could add PT in there. You could add Freya in there because Freya's 200 free was seriously impressive. She's done some good 100 frees.
Yeah,
difficult to pick just like 1 or 2 or 3. It's crazy.
Yeah, my kind of shout out for races of the meets were the women's 200 free.
Yep, definitely.
Because of that close finish, and the women's 200 IM.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
I really enjoyed that one. Enjoyed that one.
I've written down men's 200 backstroke because I really thought Luke was going to get there. So unfortunate that he didn't, but good learning curve for him anyway to see where he was at. And then I think the race of the meet for me was the last race that we witnessed. The women's 4x1 medley.
Good shout.
That was absolute monster of a race. I wasn't expecting us to win. I wasn't expecting, I was kind of expecting Kathleen Dawson to be close to that British record, but it's always nice when you actually see it broken. You think, oh my God, I've just witnessed something amazing here. And I just didn't think we would win. I thought the Dutch would win it relatively, not comfortably, but I thought they would win it. It's always nice when you win as well. So that was the race of the meet for me.
I mean, in the chat, there's the men's 100-meter backstroke. It was a very, very close race. It's a big shame for me that Kalashnikov messed up or didn't get there.
Yeah,
It just felt like it was missing that star name. But I mean, didn't Glinta win the first ever gold for Romania or something like that in it?
I can't remember now, but yes, it sounds something right. Yeah. But there's a number of races out there, but. 100 backstroke. I think it would have been definitely more interesting if Kleshkov was there. And then, of course, you got Rylov as well, who would have given a little bit of a challenge. I think he was one of the Russians that weren't quite on form. Yeah. But overall, what a week. What a week. Top of the medal table. Just incredible.
So I think this is kind of the last chance to ask any questions to us before we sign off for Europeans. We will be back for Glasgow doing very much the same thing. Obviously, Glasgow, the setup is the other way around.
Yes, so finals in the morning.
Finals in the morning, but we will be doing an evening review show, kind of reviewing the finals of that morning and then previewing the finals the next day. Basically, a dry run for how we're going to set things up for the Olympics. Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, what sort of time would suit you? I think it's got to be after work, of course. So it's got to be after 6. So should we say 7, half 7? What's best?
I reckon 7:30 every evening.
Half 7? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll trial it at Glasgow and see how many people. We love the conversation that we have going on at the moment in our chats, which is absolutely incredible. That's the whole reason why we're doing this live stream.
Definitely.
To get everyone talking about swimming. So if we can do half 7, talk about it for an hour like we have done for this last week, then I think it's the way to go. Yeah.
I think, we have a question just before I get on to.
Yeah, go on.
Who would win in 150 fly out of Dressel or Milak?
Oh, man.
Can we just call it a dead heat?
We might poll this on Twitter.
I have no idea, but yes, let's poll it.
Do you want to put a poll on Twitter? Oh, man. I'm going to go with Dressel, believe it or not.
I'll tell you what, I was leaning towards Milak.
Oh,
so there we go.
Oh, let's put it on Twitter. Let's find out, because that's a really good question. I was only going Dressel because he's, at the moment, doing really well on the 200 frees. I think he's knocking out 146s. So he can last over that 200 distance. And obviously, world class at 100 fly. Yeah, I just put it to Twitter. We'll write that down. Let me write that down. We'll definitely do that.
Yeah. He is making notes on everything.
Twitter poll.
Put it up. I think what it's worth saying from me and Dan is we thoroughly enjoyed this week. I know we've done watch-alongs in the past in terms of at Manchester Meet, in terms of trials. We've really enjoyed this review format. We've really enjoyed everyone interacting after a great night of swimming. And I think we've always wanted to be honest and upfront with everyone, what's going on behind the scenes at Propulsion Swimming. So as people may know, YouTube, it can be a good revenue earner. And over the past few days, we have now passed the point where we can monetize our channel. We can put some adverts on it, which means Propulsion Swimming can start earning a bit of money. And our plan is to pump this straight back into the channel. We both have pretty good jobs ourselves. We don't need the extra money in our pockets. So we are putting it straight back in the channel. And we're going to put it to some really good things. I think in the future, we have an idea of setting up kind of like a swimmer hardship fund. So Dan, the only reason you got to train at Cardiff and go on to the elite level and kind of experience that was because you were sponsored. And I think that's if the revenue on YouTube becomes big enough to do that, that's something we really want to invest in, helping a swimmer who's really good at age groups and just needs that extra funding boost to get on to do, but also just improve our videos, improve the content we can put out for you. I think it's a really exciting time, and we are definitely fully invested in this. If you knew the hours that we did behind the scenes, you would realize that.
Yeah, well, the reason why we started this app is to give back to the sport, because the sports, I know for you, Scott, and for me, has given me so much. It's given me so many life lessons. It's given me different avenues. It's given me a job, effectively, because of the coaching and teaching side of it. Yep. So the idea of doing it was to give back to the sports. And so if we can make a little bit of pocket change and go to, let's say we go to nationals next year and then speak to the swimmers, do live interviews, something like that, get real good guests on, something to do with that, that's the whole reason why we've done it. And at the moment it's going really well. And thank you very much to everyone at the moment who's taking part in the conversation I can see going on here. There's a few more questions that we've got to answer at the moment. And it's going really well, and I'm really glad that everyone's joining us on this journey. And if we can do basically the same as what happened to me and sponsor a swimmer or a number of swimmers, if it gets that sort of level, then that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah. Should we get to a few of these questions? So Dressel is going to demolish Cello's super suit record at trials. Your predictions? What class is a demolition in a 50? Point 0.2? He's got the 100 as well. He's got the 100 as well to break. I think the 100's more of a shot than the 50. I've always thought that 50 is a bit nuts.
Do you reckon? See, I remember when it's on one of our first podcasts where we did wild Olympic predictions. I swear it was like the third episode that we did. We're on like 60 odd now. And I said right at the beginning that Dressel was breaking that 53 record at the Olympics.
I think the issue is you can't say Dressel's not going to break a record just because he could break any number come Tokyo. I mean, that's
20.7. Woo!
punchy time.
That's quick. That's very quick. I mean, that's nearly as punchy as Scott's prediction that Milak goes 49 points tonight.
I almost had that. I almost had it.
Well, if a demolition,
that is a demolition.
Demolition. Thank you. Of 0.2. Yeah. I mean, if he goes those times, geez, I don't think those get beaten for a number of years. I mean, decades. I mean, maybe potentially. I mean, I'd love to see him go at those times. I think he goes 20.9 and breaks the world record by the smallest margin, but he breaks it either way. I think the 100 is a little bit out of reach because that really is quite impressive. Really seriously impressive. There was another question as well. Oh, next guest for the podcast. Oh, well, we don't want to give any more teasers, do we?
Keeping it under wraps, but we're doing a full podcast review this week of European Champs. We'll discuss a lot of what we've discussed on these live streams with everyone. But we do have a special guest who is, let's just say he works at BBC, who's joining us, hopefully. Yes. We haven't completely confirmed, but we should be recording this very, very in the near future.
We're 80% sure that he's going to come on. We just need a proper confirmation message, don't we, or email? Yeah. But we're pretty sure because he's a fantastic ambassador for the sport. That's effectively what it is. That's what his job is.
That's the clues done. Clues done. Okay. Cut it there.
That'll do then. Andy Jameson, not Andy Jameson. No, not Andy Jameson.
Stop with the clues. Leave it.
Okay, that's it.
I guess this is a good place to leave it for the night then. I think we have thoroughly enjoyed this week. I hope you've really found value in what we're doing. I think that's all we're after, adding value to swimming. That's literally all we're doing.
We just want people to speak about swimming more. You look on BBC Sport, for example. Of course, there was a lot of football going on today, but you just don't see as much swimming as there should be. You see a lot of athletics, you see a lot of golf, you see a lot of snooker, but swimming doesn't really get talked about enough. It gets talked about when there's major meets on, but how often does major meets happen? Maybe once a year, twice a year if you're lucky. Whereas it needs to be talked about more, especially with swimmers like PC who are just way better than everyone else, 2% quicker, than anyone else ever. And those sort of swimmers need to be celebrated more, I suppose. You've got Duncan Scott coming through and all that sort of stuff. So it just needs to be celebrated and talked about more, which hopefully it will get to that stage with us anyway.
Yeah, brilliant. So we are going to be back in 2 weeks' time for the Glasgow meets. We'll be live. Right now we're saying 7:30 for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Until then, please subscribe to the Propulsion Swimming YouTube channel. We have some new videos coming out soon. We have new podcast obviously lined up as well. But until then, I guess it's a good point to say thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you all again very soon.
We will. Glasgow's in 2 weeks, and we'll do exactly the same then. So thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you then.
Okay. Have a nice evening, and we will speak to you all again soon. Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.